There are moments in life when it feels like everything is crumbling, not slowly, but all at once. Like the floor beneath your feet was never really there. Like the things you believed in suddenly walked away. Like the prayers you whispered were never heard. You look around at the wreckage. You look within and see disappointment. And then you lift your eyes and ask the question no one wants to admit. God, if you love me, why did you let me fall? You're not angry. You're not even bitter. You're just broken and confused because you were trying. You were praying. You were doing everything right, or at least everything you knew how to do. You stayed faithful. You served. You sacrificed. You believed. You spoke the verses, clung to the promises, waited on His timing. But instead of answers, you got silence. Instead of blessings, you got battles. And instead of rising, you fell. And not just a little fall, not just a momentary trip, but a collapse. A deep, hard, disorienting fall that made you question everything. Your identity, your calling, even your worth. And in that place, that valley, you wondered, is this how the story ends? Was everything I believed just wishful thinking? But what if I told you, your fall is not the end? What if I told you, this is where it begins? Because in God's kingdom, the way up is always down. The world teaches us that success means rising, higher income, more status, more influence, more applause. But God isn't impressed by ladders. He's not chasing platforms. He's not interested in how many people are watching you. He's looking for surrender. And surrender usually comes after a fall. The truth is, many people want to rise with God, but they don't want to be broken by Him. They want the crown, but not the cross. They want purpose, but not the pain. They want glory, but without going through the grave. But look at the ones God used. Moses fell before he led. He murdered a man and ran for 40 years. But God met him in the wilderness and said, "Now you're ready." David fell before he ruled. He was chased, betrayed, and humbled in caves. But that's where he learned to worship in the dark. That's where God built the heart of a king. Peter fell before he preached. He denied Jesus 3 times, and yet Jesus still said, "Feed my sheep." Because failure didn't disqualify him, it prepared him. And Jesus himself fell while carrying the cross. Not once, not twice. He stumbled under the weight of the mission he was born for, but he didn't stay down, because falling was part of the journey to resurrection. So why would you think your story should be different? Why do we believe that if God is with us, we'll never suffer? Why do we assume that being chosen means we'll never be crushed? It's a lie the world sold us. That pain means punishment, that falling means failure. But in God's hands, your fall is formation. He lets things break so He can rebuild them with purpose. He lets things die so He can raise something new. He lets the dream shatter so He can give you a vision that actually aligns with His will. Because sometimes we're chasing something that would have destroyed us if He didn't let it fall apart. You thought that job was the answer. You thought that relationship was the one. You thought your plan was God's will because it felt good, looked right, and made sense. But God saw what you couldn't. He saw the cracks, the compromise, the silent drift in your heart. And instead of letting you build your life on something fake, He let it fall. Not to punish you, but to protect you. Because He loves you too much to let you succeed at something that would pull you away from Him. The fall hurts. Yes, it breaks you. Yes, but it also saves you from pride, from illusion, from destruction. God never wastes a fall. He uses it to strip you, to silence the noise, to bring you face to face with the parts of yourself you've ignored. Because sometimes the only way to find Him is to lose everything else. We ask God to take us deeper, but we don't realize that deeper often means darker. It means digging. It means pruning. It means fire. The deeper the roots, the stronger the tree. But roots grow in hidden places, and so must you. You want visible fruit, but God wants invisible strength, and that comes from the fall. In the fall, your ego dies, your image shatters, your self-made confidence collapses, and then you finally say, God, I have nothing left but you. And that's where the real rise begins. Not when people approve, not when the spotlight comes, not when everything looks perfect, but when your heart is quiet, surrendered, and desperate for His voice. The truth is, God lets you fall because the higher the calling, the deeper the crushing. And He is not just interested in blessing what you build. He wants to build you first. He wants you to be the kind of person who doesn't just rise, but stands, endures, remains. And that kind of strength only comes through the fire. You can fake charisma, you can fake knowledge, you can even fake success, but you can't fake depth, and you can't fake anointing. That comes from the secret place, the painful place, the falling place. And if you're there right now, if you feel like you've been dropped, forgotten, abandoned, you're in the exact place where God does His best work. He's not finished with you. He's just getting started. Don't believe the voice that says you're done. Don't listen to the shame that tells you it's over. Don't agree with the lie that says you're too far gone. You're not. You're in process. You're being refined. You're being rebuilt. And soon, you'll rise. Not on your own, not for your glory, but in His power for His purpose. And when you rise this time, you won't be the same person. You'll be stronger, wiser, more surrendered, more free, because you'll know that the fall didn't destroy you. It introduced you to the real you, the one who was always hidden beneath the noise, the one God saw from the beginning, the one He's calling out now. So stand still, let the process work, let the pain shape you, let the silence teach you, let the fall rebuild you, because what's coming will be greater than what was lost. And your story isn't over yet. It's hard to explain what the fall really feels like to someone who's never experienced it. It's not just the pain, it's the silence. The way heaven seems to close its doors, the way the prayers you once whispered with hope now feel empty, like echoes in a cave, like throwing a bottle into the ocean and never hearing back. You try to worship, you try to believe, but something inside feels disconnected, like the God you once felt so close to is suddenly nowhere to be found. But what if I told you He's closer now than has ever been? Not in the way you feel Him, but in the way He's working behind the scenes. See, in the fall, God isn't far. He's focused. He's not punishing you. He's purifying you. He's not ignoring you. He's insulating you, protecting you from voices, directions, and decisions that could destroy your destiny. Because the truth is, the fall separates the noise from the voice, the clutter from the calling, the hype from the holy. You don't need 100 voices telling you what to do. You need one voice, His. And sometimes, He'll strip everything else away, so you have no choice but to finally listen. We live in a world that rewards noise, shiny things, visible success. But heaven moves in silence, in secret, in surrender. That's why Jesus often withdrew to lonely places, to quiet spaces, to moments no one saw but all of heaven responded to. And maybe that's why God allowed your fall. Not because you were failing, but because you were distracted. Because the version of you that everyone clapped for wasn't the version He called. You were becoming what the world wanted, but not who He formed. So He allowed the collapse, not to shame you, but to save you. Because you were drifting into a version of life that would cost you your soul. And He loves you too much to let that happen. So He let it break. He let it fall. He let it unravel. Because sometimes the only way to reset your direction is to remove the illusion of control. We think control gives us power, but it actually steals our peace. We think certainty equals security, but only God provides true stability. And when you fall, when everything you trusted in shatters, you realize something powerful, that the thing holding you up all along was never your strength. It was His grace. And grace doesn't need a platform. Grace doesn't need applause. Grace doesn't need a title, a brand, or even a plan. Grace just needs surrender. And surrender is found in the fall. You stop trying to be enough. You stop pretending to be perfect. You stop performing for love. And finally, you collapse into the arms of the one who never stopped holding you. That's where transformation begins. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not in the crowd, but in the closet. Not when you feel powerful, but when you realize your power isn't enough. This is where the real you begins to surface. The one who isn't defined by achievements, followers, or affirmations. The one who's grounded in faith, anchored in truth, and shaped by fire. And brother, fire doesn't destroy gold, it refines it. You're not being punished, you're being purified. You're not being broken to be buried, you're being broken to be rebuilt. Because what's coming requires a stronger foundation, and foundations are never built in public, they're built in the dark, underground, unseen. Maybe that's why your channel is called Unseen Light. Because what God is doing in you right now may be invisible to others, but it's shining brighter than ever in the spiritual realm. God doesn't elevate pride. He exalts the humble. And humility is often born from the ground, from the moments when you're face down, crying out, wondering if He even hears you. He hears you. Every tear, every whisper, every God, where are you? Not one moment has been wasted. Not one cry has been ignored. He's just using this moment to build something eternal. We chase quick wins. God builds lasting roots. We chase open doors. God builds character. We chase stage time. God builds secret strength. And you're in that season now. The silent, hidden, refining season. It's lonely. It's confusing, but it's not pointless. Because what you gain here, no one can take from you. People can steal your platform. They can criticize your choices. They can doubt your vision, but they can't touch your depth. They can't take the strength that was formed in the furnace. They can't cancel the calling that was carved in fire. Because what God births in the valley cannot be shaken on the mountain. And you will rise again. But this time, you'll rise different. Not with hype, but with humility. Not with arrogance, but with authority. Not because you climbed, but because He carried you. And when people see you rise, they'll ask how you made it, and you'll smile and say, I didn't. He did. Because this was never about proving yourself. It was about losing yourself, so you could finally find Him. And in finding Him, you discovered who you really are. You're not what you lost. You're not what fell apart. You're not the broken pieces on the ground. You are who God says you are, even now, especially now, chosen, loved, purposed, forgiven. And that truth doesn't change with your circumstances. Because His grace isn't based on your performance. It's anchored in His promise. So if you're still breathing, He's still building. And if you're still hurting, He's still healing. This is not the end. It's the middle. And the middle may be messy, but it's also holy. Because the middle is where the shift happens. The rewiring, the realignment, the revelation. You see clearer now, not with your eyes, but with your spirit. You recognize now that even the fall was a gift. It stripped the illusion. It silenced the noise. It humbled your soul, and it brought you back to Him. Because the truth is, you were never meant to rise alone. The enemy wants you to believe that God abandoned you, that your fall disqualified you, that your mistake defined you. But the enemy is a liar. Because right now, even in your lowest place, God is working, not around you, but in you. He's not rebuilding the dream, He's rebuilding the dreamer. He's not restoring what you lost, He's restoring who you are. And when He's done, you won't just rise, you'll soar, you'll move in power, not pride. You'll speak with fire, not fear. You'll walk in purpose, not performance. Because this time, it won't be about who sees you, it'll be about who sent you. And you'll know the one who let you fall was the same one who caught you, not to keep you down, but to raise you higher than you ever imagined. So hold on, even if by a thread, even if with trembling hands. Hold on, because grace is holding you, and glory is coming. This is your middle, but the rise is near. You've come this far. Through the silence, through the pain, through the questions no one answered. You've stood in the ruins. You've cried on the bathroom floor. You've looked in the mirror and seen someone you barely recognized. And yet, you're still here, breathing, battling, believing even if it's just with a mustard seed of faith. You don't feel strong. You don't feel chosen. You don't feel holy. But feelings don't determine truth. And the truth is, you are still in God's hands. And God never drops what He's shaping. He never wastes what He's refining. He never overlooks what He's building. Even when it looks like nothing's happening, everything is happening. Because He doesn't build on appearances. He builds on authenticity. And nothing exposes the real you like a fall. Not the Sunday smile, not the Instagram verse, not the highlight reel, but the raw, unfiltered, trembling voice that says, God, I don't understand, but I'm still here. That voice, that heart, that honesty is what heaven responds to. Because it's not the performance that moves God. It's the posture, not the loudest praise, but the surrendered soul. The fall stripped away what was false, so God could strengthen what's true. And now, you're ready. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you've let go of what was never yours to carry. Your old identity, gone. Your self-reliance, broken. Your fear of what people think, dying. And in its place, a quiet confidence, a holy fire, a God-given boldness that wasn't there before. Because when you rise this time, you're not rising for approval. You're not rising for applause. You're rising for purpose. You've seen the valley. You've felt the weight. And now you understand something deeper. The fall didn't break you. It prepared you. And everything you went through will now flow through you to heal others who are still on the ground. You become the voice that says, I know what it's like to fall, but I also know the one who lifted me. You become the bridge, the light, the testimony, not of perfection, but of perseverance, not of pride, but of power, the kind that only comes through pain. Because the anointing isn't cheap. It costs something. It costs nights you cried alone, dreams you buried in silence, failures you thought would disqualify you. But God used every piece of it. He turned the ashes into oil, the pain into praise, the mess into ministry. And now you're standing, not because you're great, but because He is faithful. People will wonder how you survived, how you're still going, how you found the strength to rise. And you'll smile through the scars and say, I didn't, grace did. And that's what this story has been about all along. Not your fall, not your strength, not your plan, but His grace, His faithfulness, His love that never left, even when you did. He was there in the pit. He was there in the silence. He was there when you doubted, when you ran, when you gave up on yourself. He never gave up on you. And now, it's time to rise. Not because everything is perfect, but because He's not finished with you. Not because you're flawless, but because you're forgiven. Not because you feel ready, but because He's always been ready. The same God who allowed the fall will empower the rise. And this rise will not be quiet. It will carry a sound, a fire, a light so bright that hell will tremble when your feet touch the floor each morning. You're not coming back the same. You're coming back stronger, sharper, wiser, deeper. Because now you know that the fall was never your enemy. It was your invitation to deeper trust, to real faith, to radical surrender. And from this day forward, you'll never look at brokenness the same way again. Because now you see that every fall carries a future. Every loss holds a lesson. Every tear waters something eternal. You may still have scars, but they're proof that grace still wins. You may still have doubts, but faith doesn't mean the absence of questions. It means trusting even when you don't have answers. You may still feel weak, but strength is perfected in weakness. And if God brought you this far, He's not leaving you now. So rise, in your spirit, in your voice, in your walk, in your purpose. Rise, not as who you were, but as who you are becoming. A warrior, a witness, a weapon in the hands of the Most High. And as you rise, let the world know this fall was never the end. It was the setup, the foundation, the furnace that forged your faith. And now, you're ready to be used like never before. So go, shine, speak, stand. And when people ask what changed you, what built you, what raised you, tell them this: I fell, but God didn't leave me there. He raised me, and He'll never be the same again. Subscribe to Unseen Light, where the broken rise and the lost return home. This is your moment. Your rise is now.